Good morning, all of you. Today is our second Python programming session. So in this session, we are going to familiar with the Python software that is called Python IDLE, and we are going to use Python IDLE as a calculator. Okay. Hope that you have went through the practical quiz 1, right? It is a little bit time consuming one, but you can enjoy it, huh? What about the quiz 1? Did you go through it? So once you submit the answers for quiz number 1, so you can see your grades, right? So don't worry about the marks. Anyway, you can, with the grades, you can see the answers and some model answers. Okay. Right. So today you have to I will open the Python IDE. Today we are going to do the practical number 2, which is labeled as getting started. Python getting started. Okay. Python getting started. So you have to download and install Python IDLE. Okay. You have to download and install Python IDLE. If you just type IDLE in the search box, right, then you can easily find the IDLE. Okay. Usually when you install Python IDLE in the Windows environment, right, it will be in white color background with something like this. Okay. So you can so you can open Python IDLE and try the command in exercise 1. All of you try exercise 1. It says open the Python IDLE or QPython 3. If you are using mobile application, if you are using mobile phone, then you can use the mobile application name as QPython 3. You have to type your command here. Shall we, all of you, try this? Last time I told you how to download the software and all. Hello world. And press enter. All of you try it. Is there anybody using mobile application?
Recording in progress.
For using mobile app, you have to open the QPython 3 and select the console. Then it will be the black color screen like this. Then you can type the commands. Okay, I think we can start the session from the beginning. All of you, all of you. So look at the top of the page. So the name of the session is getting started, right? Actually, this is the first section I did earlier. So this time I did the turtle graphics, and this is the second session now. Usually this is the first session that I'm going to. That's why I have labeled this as getting started. Okay. Introduction to Python. All of you look at the note. So it says that Python is a programming language. Python is a programming language, right? Normally, when it is the term language කියලා කිව්වම, when it is language, can you give me some examples for languages? මම සාමාන්‍ය ළමයිගෙන් අහන ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඒක. Can you give me some examples for languages? Some of you say that Sinhala is a language. English is a language. Tamil is a language. They are also languages. So these languages are called natural languages. Natural languages. Natural languages. You know, the main purpose of a language is communication. Exchanging information. And other category called programming language. Can you give me some examples for programming languages, all of you? So we are going to do Python. It will be the first programming language for most of you. C is a programming language you may have heard. C++, C#. Likewise, there are a lot of programming languages. Actually, there are 100,000s of programming languages. C#. We are going to learn MATLAB in this course. Likewise, the languages can be divided into two main categories: programming languages and the natural languages. Okay. So usually the natural languages are used to communicate between humans. So there's a communication. The both parties are humans, man-to-man communication. But when it is a programming language, the one part is a human, other part is a computer or a robot. Okay, other part is a computer or robot. So man to computer communication. Okay, so better to use one side. So we are going to instruct a man to do this or something like that. So man to computer communication is based on programming languages. Now the question is, all of you, now the question is, why we can't use a natural language to communicate with the robots or computers? Why can't we use? So we can use either Sinhala or English or any other natural language to communicate with the computer. Sometimes you may have seen, you can talk to your mobile phone with Google Assistants. There are some automobiles nowadays, you can talk to them. You can say that, set the temperature to 25 degrees, something like that. Why can't we use, all of you, why can't we use a natural language? Uh, කෙනෙක් අපිට කියන computers can only understand binary. That means high and low voltages. Yes, that is correct. Computer is a digital system, therefore computer can only understand 1 and 0. Actually, the main issue is when it is a natural language. Okay, when it is a natural language, the natural language is not precise. Natural language is not 100% accurate. There are a lot of misunderstandings. For example, if it is orange, you know, orange, this eraser is orange color. Orange is a color. Orange is a color. Orange is a color. Orange is a fruit. There are some electrical fittings with the brand orange. Right? So some statements in in a natural language having multiple meanings. Depends on the viewpoint. Right? Same statement having multiple meanings. Right? That is one of the main issues. Another issue is the natural languages are very complicated. If I ask you how many words in English language, nobody will say the correct answer. Nobody knows. But in Python, only 35 words. Right? Therefore, we can easily learn a natural language. We can teach the language to a robot or a computer. Because the natural, compared to natural languages, the programming languages are very limited vocabulary, limited rules, kind of situations, and those are limited words and the vocabulary are limited, but its formation is highly technical, highly accurate. That's why we have to learn programming language. Normally, when the both parties are human, even though there are some misunderstanding or some multiple meanings, they can adapt. When the both are humans, it is possible to manage. For example, I am talking to you, right? Sometimes you cannot understand it, right? Then you will ask me again or something. Or sometimes you will correct it, or you will assume that I'm talking about something. In that way, you can manage. But when the one is a human, other one is a computer, it's difficult to deal with. Can you understand? So that's why we have to move into another language category called programming languages. Okay. In future, the computer systems will be further developed and you can use natural languages instead of programming languages. But up to now, we have to use the special language category called programming languages. Okay. Python is a programming language, which is easy to learn even for the beginners. Okay. So I know that most of you did not learn any programming language according to our education systems, especially computer science. It is not added to our curriculums. Because of that, we miss the important subject area, computer science and the programming and all. Anyway, it's not an issue. As a beginner, we can Python is one of the best starting language to learn programming. The latest version of Python is 3.9. Okay, actually in Python there are 3 generations. There is something called Python, then Python 2 and Python 3. Up to 2010, Python 2 was popular. It's the second generation. Python 2 means second generation of Python programming language. Then 2010 onward, 2008, 9, 10 onward, Python 3 uh, became, and it is popular, right? So we are also going to learn Python 3 point. Within the 3, within the Python 3, there are a lot of subversions 3.0, 3.1, likewise. So don't worry about the subversion, right? If it is Python 3 something, that's enough, right? Because in our uh, course, we are not dealing with the in detail things. Therefore, uh, what you are learning is Python 3, Python 3. So if you have installed Python 3.1 or 3.2 or whatever, the latest is 3.9, right? It doesn't matter. If you have installed Python 2, because there are some major differences between Python 2 and Python 3, right? Like there are some differences. So I'm not explaining Python 2 and the differences, right? If you have installed, especially if you have installed QPython, what you have to install is not QPython. You have to install QPython 3. Okay, QPython 3. QPython 3 එක තමයි install කරගන්න ඕන. 3L කියලා තියෙන අන්න එක. The latest version of Python 3, which can be freely downloaded from the official website of Python. Okay, so you have to install either Python IDLE or QPython 3, or you can go to pythonanywhere.com website, pythonanywhere.com website, and you can use online Python shell otherwise, right? A lot of other software are also available. You can use any of them, but my recommendation is use one of these 3. So once open, it look like something like, right? So this is a screenshot that I have taken several years ago. You can see that, right? 2010 onwards, I am teaching this, right? Now you are in the ideal environment. This is the place where you spend the most of the time, right? IDLE, all of you, IDLE. IDLE is a special software. IDLE is a special software. Actually, the proper term is IDE. If you want to develop a computer program, you have to use another computer program that is called IDE. IDE. IDE stands for integrated. That means several things connected together, integrated. Development environment. Integrated development environment. That means this software provide the required environment to develop computer programs, right? So you have heard the term software development. So this, right? For example, I have set up the environment to do a class, fixing the whiteboard, setting several lights and all. So I have the suitable environment to do a online class here, setting camera, microphone and all. Likewise, so to develop a computer software in your computer, there should be certain environment, right? So this software IDE provide the required environment, integrated development environment. Normally, early days, we have to use several softwares. Several software, that means there's a software to type the program, another software to compile it. Likewise, we had to use several softwares, several computer programs. Now all the things are integrated into one. That's why the term integrated is used. Integrated development environment. In Python, they use IDLE because of certain license issue or something like that. That's why they use IDLE. IDLE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Okay, Integrated Development Environment. Here you can see that IDLE stands for the Integrated Development Environment. Okay. So in the exercise 1, open the Python IDLE, okay, and you have to type it now. You have type this and so this is the IDLE environment, right? In this environment, you have to type commands. You have to type Python commands. This is a simple command, right? Once you actually you can do any calculation here. 12 plus 5, likewise 12 minus 4. You can do basic calculations, kind of thing, right? This is a filling in the blank type one, so you can. There are a lot of additional software, for example, PyCharm and so on. So they are third-party softwares, right? Python IDL is the software developed by the Python organization. So my recommendation is to use the Python IDL, but you can use any other software, for example, PyCharm or you can use any software, it doesn't matter, right? All of you can see this greater than symbol twice. That is called the prompt. That is called prompt. Okay, better to type them in lowercase and uppercase, and then what you entered is called command. Then you can see certain output, no, that is called output, right? Normally in the ideally you have to deal with three things. What? The prompt, okay, the command, and this one is the output. Okay, ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් highlight කරලා දාගන්නකො ඉරක් ගහලා වගේ. This is the command and this one is the output. Okay, so if you're using ideally, it is in these commands are in different colors. Hello world is in green color, print is in purple, and the output is in blue color. Okay, right, then you can go to the second exercise number 2. So in the first exercise we learn the basic terms and all. Okay, then try exercise 2. Try each of the following Python code and observe the output. අවශ්‍යව ලියාගෙන යන්න output එක ලියන්න. Write down the output. So we are moving to exercise 2. Exercise 2. First one is type in print hello world. අර කලින් command එකම නේද? Hello world. Okay, the output will be hello world. In the second command, instead of single quotation, the double quotation symbol is used, right? Actually, if you want to generate an output, you can remember, if you want to generate an output in the canvas, Python canvas in turtle programming, the function uses write function. Okay, similarly, print is the function to generate output on the screen, actually printing some text on the screen. In the third one, it is also double quote, but the hello part is in capital. Hello world is in capital. Okay, it doesn't matter. Whatever that you want to print, you have to put no within the single quote or double quote. In the last lecture, I only use single quote, but normally, if you want to insert a text in your command, you can use either single quote or double quote. Okay. The last command, what is the output of the last command, all of you? What is the output of the last command? කියන්න බලන්න අන්තිමේකට මොකද වුනේ කියලා. Yes, it's an error. Error එකක් එන්නේ. Because there's a difference. No? It is same as the very first command, but only first letter is different. First letter is capital P. No? Then the term print is not properly identified by the IDLE. It says that error. Error කියලා උත්තරයටත් දාන්න error. Normally when it is an error, it will be in red color. And you can see some warning message or some suggestions. This is the error. It says that name print is not defined. So print is the word. So both these are read as print, but in Python, last time also I mentioned, in a command, case is important. Whether the command is in the simple, can a lowercase, if it is in lowercase or uppercase, that is important. We can't change the case. Simple තිබ්බොත් simple ම දාන්න ඕන, capital නම් capital දාන්න ඕන එක. තේරුණාද? Case is important. You can't change the case. Okay. So this is one of the main point of a programming language. That's why I have labeled exercise 2 as case sensitivity. Okay. Exercise 2 as the case sensitivity. Okay. We will learn. We will fill these blanks. So for the first blank, you just learn that print. We use print function. You just learn that print is a function. Okay. Blank එක fill කරලා දාන්න. Print is a function. ඒ වගේ ඒවට කියන්නේ function කියලා. Last time we learned a lot of functions. Forward function, backward function, those likewise. You learn that print is a function which is used to print a message on the screen. That message you have to put in either single quote or double quote. For the message, the case is not important. Or capital them capital N. Okay. So the next point, Python is a case sensitive. Python is a case sensitive. මෙතන අපිට අදාළ වෙන එක ඒකනේ case sensitive. Python is a case sensitive programming language. Python is a case sensitive programming language. Blank එක fill කරන්නකො. Python is a case sensitive programming language. Normally, when you are going to learn a programming language, the first thing that you should know is whether it is case sensitive or not. Because there are some programming languages which are not case sensitive. We call case insensitive. Okay, the language can be either case sensitive or not. Sometimes you may have learned HTML. O-level කාලේ වගේ HTML කරලා ඇති. In HTML there are HTML tags කියලා જાතියක් තියෙනවා, අහලා තියෙනවනේ. Body, head, ඒ වගේ එහෙම තියෙනවා. Normally HTML heads are HTML tags, head, home ඒ වගේ තියෙන ඒවා. They are not case sensitive. Clear? They are not case sensitive. What about password? What about a password? Is it case sensitive? Password ගැන මොකද කියන්නේ? Yes, passwords are case sensitive. What about email address? email address. සමහර අය හිතනවා email address URL ඒවා case sensitive කියලා. Let's say you want to go to google.com, then you can type it in either simple or capital or mix of simple capital. If when you are typing email address, you can use any case, it doesn't matter, right? Simple capital වෙනස් කරා කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. Usually email addresses, URLs, they are not case sensitive. What about human? අපි මොකද අපි? Are we case sensitive or not? Usually we can identify the case, but normally we are not case sensitive. For example, the term Python is in simple, capital, mix of simple, capital, all considered as Python. Usually we don't read it, but we can identify the difference between. Okay. Okay. The last one says modify. Modify print to print your name on the screen. Okay. Command එක වෙනස් කරලා පොඩ්ඩක් නම print වෙන විදියට හදන්න කියලා තියෙනවා. It's very simple. Okay. Normally learning programming is very simple. Okay. You have to observe particular command, then you have to change it according to your requirements. මට දැන් අවශ්‍ය නම් Python කියලා type print කරන්න. නම එහෙම Python programming. Just type it and enter. Okay. So I want to give you one of the important point. Here we are learning a language. Okay. Learning a language. So think about way that you learn a language, way that you learn a natural language, especially your first language we call mother tongue. How did you learn the mother tongue? Is it by following a formal course? Most of you have from Sinhala background. If you learn Sinhala or other, right? How did you learn? Right? By hearing. That means, this is a pen. This is a pen, right? Then based on that, if you can repeat, this is a calculator. We are going to learn this is a pen. Based on that, we are going to say this is a calculator. That's how we learn language, right? Actually, without writing, we can initially we can start to speak. No, without having proper understanding of grammar, we can speak or we can use the sentence. This is a pen. Right? Actually, the term this having a special meaning and is having a special meaning. Why that? Now we know that why we use is there. Is this is a, this is a pen, this is an eraser. Likewise, there are grammars and all the things. But in the very first day, we are not going to understand the everything. Can you understand? Right? So here also same thing. So if you can understand the print is a function which is used to print a message on the screen, that's enough, right? You can put anything. You can put pen or calculator or any other thing instead of in the blank, and you can use it. That's enough. Okay. Usually, a natural language is learned by experiences, by experience and examples. කට්ටිය කියනවා අපි අහන් ඉන්න බලාගෙන ඉන්න. Then we are going to repeat it. Especially experience and examples. So that's the way that we learn natural language. So programming languages like Python also we have to do the same thing. Okay. Normally there are two ways of learning something, right? One is called top-down approach. Top-down approach. Other one approach is called bottom-up approach. Normally we learn maths from the beginning, bottom to top. We learn science, chemistry, physics from the bottom to top approach. Actually, most of the adults, right? You are familiar with learning in bottom-up approach. But when it is a natural language or programming language, you have to learn it in the reverse way. How? From the top to bottom, top down approach. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේක අපිට වෙනවනේ. අපි දැන් secondary language එකක් විදියට those who are going to learn English as a secondary language. What is the approach following? Is it the top down approach or bottom up approach? Secondary language එකක් විදියට ඉගෙන ගන්න හදනකොට method එක දෙයක්. You know that it is you have to follow top down approach. If you follow top down approach, you can talk and all, right? But if you are going bottom up approach, you are going to learn the alphabet first, then cat and all, then you have to learn it forever. Can you understand? You have to start from the top and top down approach. Okay, so learning Python is also learning a programming language is also in the same approach, top down approach. Therefore, initially there can be certain questions with you, lot of questions with you, right? But I'm not going to explain all the things at the beginning. This කියන එකත් කියලා is කියන එකත් කියලා කියන ඒවා. I'm not going to explain everything at the beginning. So if you can manage it, if you can use it, that's enough, right? Later we are going to learn the okay. Now it's time to move into exercise number 3. The title is Python as a calculator. Okay, Python as a calculator. All of you try to do the exercise number 3 and example කියලා තියෙන example එක කරලා output එක දාන්න. Do the given example. For example, the first one is 14. First command is 14 plus 5. Then the output is 19. No, the 19 කියලා එතන දාන්න. මේ විදිහට කරන් යන්නකො. පළවෙනි එකට එන්නේ 19 කියලා. දෙවෙනි එකට එතකොට 19.2 කියලා එන්නේ. වගේ කරලා බලන්නකො. output එකක් දාගෙන යන්න. Okay, normally there are three arithmetic operations. No? For arithmetic operation, basic arithmetic operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So the Python support for these three operations, addition, these four operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. ඉතින් අපිට නිතරම ඕන වෙනෝනේ. අපිට ගොඩක් වැඩ කරනකොට most of the time we have to deal with the quotient and remainder. For example, I have look at this example. Let's say I have 256 chocolates. Okay, 256 chocolates. 256. Okay, so there are 37 students in the class, right? So I want to divide this. මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ. මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ. There are 1777 vehicles. 1777 vehicles. So we are going to divide this among ministers. මේ වාහන ටික ministers අතර බෙදන්න හදන්න. 220 එහෙම ගමුකෝ. So these are vehicles, no? Therefore, each minister or each ministry having 7 vehicles. So the quotient is the important one. So we can එහෙම දාන්න පුළුවන් quotient එක. Division twice quotient එක දාන්න පුළුවන්. Then 7ක් ගන්න තමයි හැමෝටම ලැබෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඉතුරු වෙන ගාන අපිට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් remainder එක විදියට. Remainder. For example, if you have 256 chocolates, if I divide the 37 students in the class equally, so each student getting 6 chocolates. බලමු කීයක් ඉතුරු වෙනවද කියලා මට. 4ක්ම ඉතුරු වෙනවා. Okay, the quotient and remainder are very useful. අපේ ඇඟේම තියෙන එකක් අපි හිතන්නෙත් නැති වුණාට. Okay, අතේ රුපියල් 500ක් තියෙනවා. දවසකට පොකට් බස් එකට යන්න රුපියල් 67ක් වියදම්. දවස් කීයක් බස් එකේ යන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා බලන්න ඕන. I have 500 rupees in my pocket. අපේ මේ ඉස්කෝලේ හරි ඔෆිස් යන්න දවසට රුපියල් 68ක් යනවා. දවසකට 68ක් යනවා. කෝච්චියට හරි මොකට හරි කියලා හිතන්න දවස් කීයක් යන්න පුළුවන්ද බලමු. 7ක් යන්න පුළුවන්. කීයක් ඉතුරු වෙනවද කියලා බලන්න ඕන නම් percentage එක දාන්න. 24. Okay, so quotient and remainder are also useful. තේරෙනෝනේ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනේම අපි ලබ්ධයයි ශේෂයයි කියලා සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ quotient එකට කියන්නේ ලබ්ධිය, ශේෂය. exponent එක powers ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙම. ගන්න පුළුවන් 5 තුන්වෙනි බලය. ඒවත් 5 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4, 20 to the power of 0.5. Again, square root of 25. Okay, so we can use Python ideally as a calculator, and we can do the simple arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication as a simple calculator. In addition to that, we have quotient, remainder, and exponent. Okay, we මේකට කියන්නේ මේ operation set එකට කියන්නේ arithmetic operations කියලා. Okay, you can fill the blank. Python has 7 arithmetic addition ඒවට කියන්නේ arithmetic operations කියලා. Arithmetic operations. Later we are going to learn other operations also, right? So up to now we have 7 basic operations. They are called arithmetic operations, right? Then you can move into exercise number 4. Exercise 4 එකට යන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ. Exercise 4 එකට යන්නේ ඒක very simple එකක් තියෙන්නේ. Okay, මෙන්න මේ calculation එක කරන්න ඕන අපිට. You have to do the calculation. Exercise 4. You have to do the calculation 234 plus 543. මේ calculation එක කරනවා. So what is the Python command? The Python command is same as the expression that you want to calculate. එතන result එකක් දාන්න. ඒ විදිහට කරන්නකො බලන්න. Okay. සමහර ඒවාට මම command type කරලා තියෙන්නේ 2 to the power 12. Right? 2 multiplication symbol twice is used for power. For some cases, you have to put the bracket. You can remember Bodmer's rule. Python has 7 arithmetic operations. Python has 7 arithmetic. Okay, I think this is manageable, right? So you can use Python ideally for basic calculations. Right, now just tell me, all of you, if this is the calculation that you want to perform. 4 plus 2 divided by 3, what should be the command? 4 plus 2 divided by 3. If you use it like this, it is not correct. Why? Because you know that BODMAS rule. So everything is according to the usual BODMAS. Now we have the 2 is subjected to both operations, addition and division. The first priority is given for division. Therefore, 2 is divided by 3. That result is added to, right? So it will be something like 4 plus 2 over 3. So you have to use a bracket here. Okay, you have to use a bracket here. Another thing is that if you want to square off the whole thing, then you have to use another bracket here. And in some cases, we have to use several brackets. Several brackets. Normally, we use normal brackets, curly bracket, square bracket, triangular brackets, lot of brackets, right? But in Python, all of you, in Python, you can only use normal brackets, ordinary brackets. The method square bracket, you have to only use the normal brackets for any uh, calculation with several brackets. Look at the screen. Let's say 2, I explained 4 plus 2 over 3 now. Right? You can understand 4 plus 2 over 3 is 0.66. So you have to use 4 plus 2 divided by 4 plus 2 divided by 3. Okay, that's how you have to use it. And if you want to square of the whole thing, right? Square of the whole thing, right? So if you use any other bracket, always there can be some unexpected situation. You will think that no, we can use brackets. So this is the second stage. So we will use a square bracket. But you will see that it's an error, right? ඕනම වෙලාවකදී හිතන්න නැති දේවල් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. There can be unexpected situations. හරියට මේ වගේ. This is a pen කියනවා. This is a calculator here. This is a cup. This is a computer. This is a table. හිටිය ගමන් කියනවා. Suddenly this is an eraser. ඒ වගේම හිටිය ගමන් එකපාරට වෙනස් වෙලා යන්න පුළුවන්. There can be unexpected things, right? There are reasons behind them, but at the beginning we are not going to explain. Actually, if you use a square bracket, it is considered as it is something like matrix. Okay, it is called list. Actually, term used is list. It's something like matrix. If you use curly bracket දැම්මොත් අර කුලකයක් වගේ එන්නේ. කුලකයක් වගේ set එකක් වගේ. Mathematical set. In a set, the elements repetitions are not allowed, right? 3 වගේ use කරා මේක for the square bracket it's a something like matrix. Okay, therefore you can use brackets. Okay, you can use brackets, but only the normal brackets. And also I want to highlight a certain point. The brackets can be used as usual to maintain the order of calculation, not that, but you had to only use the normal bracket. Normally in computer science, the term parentheses. Okay, the term parentheses is used for brackets. අපි නම් කියන්න පුරුදු වෙලා ඉන්නේ brackets කියලානේ. But in computer programming, we use parentheses, open a parentheses, close a parentheses, something like that. Okay. So I have to explain the priority of these operations in the future. So normally highest priority for powers, right? Then quotient, multiplication, division, remainder, then addition, subtraction. First priority brackets, right? Brackets. Okay, at the moment I'm not going to explain everything. Okay, we will move into the most important exercise of the day. Okay, which is the exercise number 5. All of you, now you can start exercise number 5. In exercise number 5, what you have to do is you have to just type the command I have given. For example, first one is 5, then write down the output. In output එක කොහොම ඉස්සරහින් නිකන් ලියන්න 5. The second command is 5.0. If you type 5.0, you will realize that output is 5.0. All of you likewise try to obtain the result for all the commands, then I can explain. Try all the commands and write down the output as it is, right? Not the way that you want. එන විදියටම output එක ලියන්න ඕන. Output ඔක්කොම ලියන් යන්න. output එක එන විදියටම ලියන්න. ඔයාලට හිතන විදියට නෙවෙයි, එන විදියටම ලියන්න output එක. Okay, we will move into the discussion. මම හිතන්නේ හැමෝම කට්ටිය හදලා තියෙන්නේ. Now all of you, you can change the font size. You can change the font size of the IDLE. If you go to options and under the configure IDLE, you can change the font size. Okay, options, configure IDLE. You can change various settings and all. Initially, you can increase the font size. And when you are coding, always reduce the brightness. Reduce the brightness because you are looking at the screen for a long time. No, therefore, it is good for your eye. Reduce the brightness, and also you can turn the other lights off, and you can then you can reduce the brightness, so it is good for your eye. Right now, my question is all of you now tell me, is there any difference between these two numbers mathematically? Is there any difference between these two in terms of maths? There is no any difference. But in terms of computer science, there is a huge difference. This is called integer 5, and this is called floating point 5. Floating point 5. I will explain. Integer means whole number, no integer, right? This is the term float. I will explain why the term float is used. Anyway, there is a huge difference between these two. Mathematically same, but with respect to computer, if this is a bus, this is a train. If this is a student in the school, this is the principal, something like that. If this is earth, this is the sky. If it is black, this is white. That's a huge difference. Later we are going to look at it, right? So simply I can explain, in this number, this is an integer. We did not put a dot, and there is no any decimal part, fractional part, decimal part, right? So in a computer, the less space is allocated for 5 here, integer 5. Considerable space is allocated for floating point integer. Actually, the exercise number 5, what we are doing is the most important exercise of the day, right? In this practical, the most important part is the current exercise. The exercise number 5. Okay. Normally 2 bytes will be allocated for an integer. When it is a floating point number, twice of that, 4 bytes will be allocated, right? Okay, we will look at all of you. Uh, so when we type 5, it is identified as integer 5, right? When we type 5.0, it is identified as floating point 5. Simply floating point number means number with some decimal part, fractional part. Okay, 5.0. So we are doing calculation 4 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. Actually, what we did is we add two integers. The result is also integer. 5 minus 6 minus 1. Then we have another addition, 4 plus 1.0. 4 plus 1.0. It is addition of integer and a floating point number. Now the result is floating point. Clear? Again, 4.1 plus 0.9 is, I have missed the addition, plus 0.9. Addition of two floating point numbers, result is a floating point number. Normally, in mathematical operations, right? Addition, subtraction, all operations. If both the parties are integers, both numbers are integers, then the result is integer, right? If one of the number is a floating point, then result is floating point. Okay, if one of the number is floating point, then the result is floating point. Okay, 5 into 1, 5 into 1.0, 1 is floating point, no? Therefore result is floating point. But something different when it is division. What happened in division? In the case of division, hmm, now we have divided integer by integer, or integer by float. Always result is floating point, right? Always result is division. But what I'm talking here is only applicable for Python 3. It is not applicable for earlier version of Python and other programming languages. For programming language, there are some differences, right? Integers දෙකක් divide කරාම එන්නේ float එකක්. Shall we fill these blanks, all of you? Python has two numerical data types. Yeah, you notice that word, numerical data, numbers, numerical data types, right? They are integers. The short name for integer is int. They are integers and floating point. Float can power on floating point numbers. Later we are going to look at these numbers in detail under the data representation. Okay, then you will realize why the term floating is used. Fixed point numbers available, floating point numbers available. That's right. Python has two numeric data types. They are integers and floating point numbers. The result of division is always what? Result of division is always floating point. The result of division is always floating point, right? Okay. දෙකම integer වුණත් floating point තමයි එන්නේ. The result of division is always floating point. Okay, I want to highlight another fact here. For example, if you type 5 plus 6, 5 plus 12, right? 4 plus 12. එතන අර මෙහෙම වචන වගේක් අපි use කරන්න ඕනේ. Operation. Here the operation is addition, no? All of you? The operation is addition. Too big. Operation is addition, right? The two numbers used are 12 and 4. No, these are the numbers. These numbers are called operands. The two numbers are called operands, right? Okay. Now the both operands are integers. Right? When the both operands are integers for a mathematical operation, The result is also integer. But it is not applicable for division. Okay. මේක පොඩ්ඩක් පැත්තකින් දාගන්නකො. Okay. Operands, operation, operand. Now you can feel the last point. Last point. In other operation, that means for the division one rule, in the case of division, always result is floating point, right? In other operations, if at least one of the operands, one of the operands is floating point, then the result is also floating point. Floating point. හරිනේ? එකක් හරි floating point තුනක් තමයි ඒව එන්නේ නැත්තම් මොකද float එකකට යන ඉඩ ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි. float එකකට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි දැන් integer එකකට එක පුටුවයි නම් දෙන්නේ float එකකට පුටු 3-4ක් දෙන්න වෙනවා එකයි. හරි තනි පුටුවේ වාඩි වෙන්න බෑ ඒ වගේ කේස් එකක්. හරි. සීට් පේලියම් වගේ යනවා. Okay. And also I want to explain another fact here. Now we learn the difference between integers and floating point. Okay. දැන් ඔයාලා කලින් exercise එකේ නේද? I'm sure that under the exercise 3, some cases the result is floating point, but you neglected them, right? Floating point ආවට ගණන් ගත්තේ නෑනේ සමහරලාට. Okay, it's all right. Now 6, all of you, 6. The 6 මෙතන අර මෙහෙම එකක් තියෙන්නේ 6 quotient 2, right? Quotient is 3, no? But if you use 2.0, 1 of the operand is floating point, no? Therefore result is floating point. Okay, right. I want to highlight another command here which is not available in the note. All of you, මෙහෙම කරොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? 2 divided by 0. It will say that division by 0. Division by 0. Okay, division by 0. Even it is 0 divided by 0, it will say division by 0, division error. You know that 0 divided 2. What is the value of 2 divided by 0? What is the value of 2 divided by 0? ඔයාලා දන්නව නේද? 2 divided by 0 is infinity. 0 divided by 0 is 0 divided by 0. It is not defined. It is not a number. It is not defined. Okay, we call undefined. Right. And now I want to type 120,000. 120,000 is a large number. So I can type it like this: 1.2 into 1.2 into. You can type it like this. Can you understand? So 1.2, you know scientific notation, you may have heard it and you have learned it. So 1.2 into 10 to the power 5. That is the idea, right? E stands for exponent. 1.2 and the exponent is 5. So 1.2 into 10 to the power 5. Avogadro number එක මතකද? කීයද Avogadro number එක මට මතක නැහැ. 1.ද මොකක්ද Avogadro number එක කියලා එකක් තියෙනවනේ. moles වල තියෙන 10 23 බලය කීයද Avogadro number එක? එක වැඩි කිරීමද? Avogadro number එක. Avogadro number එක වගේ enter කරන්න උනන් පස්සේ එක මතක් වුණේ 6.0. ඒ තියෙන Avogadro number එක. එතකොට අපිට බිංදු 23ක් ගහන්න වෙනෝනේ නැත්තම්. ඒක මෙහෙමත් පුළුවන්. into 6.0 into 10 to the power of 23. එකනේ Avogadro number එක. ඒක ලේසියෙන් enter කරන්නත් පුළුවන් මෙහෙම 6.023 E23 Avogadro number. Okay. Avogadro number. ඒ වගේ පොඩි ඒවා enter කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. අර epsilon වගේ ඒවා තියෙන පොඩි ගණන්. 1 E3. හරි. 1 E minus 3 කියලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. 1 E minus 3. You can try some of them. පොඩ try කරලා බලන්න. E දැන් අපි ගොඩාක් පොඩි ගානක් ගැහුවම එක බෙදීම බලන්න එක බෙදීම 10 23 මම මේ ගහලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක අර විදිහට තමයි එන්නේ. E to the power of plus 23 කියලා එන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ positive power එක. මේ කියන්නේ negative power කියලා. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් plus positive එකක් වුණාම plus sign එක දාන්නේ නැහැනේ computer එක පිළිවෙලට වැඩ කරන දානවා එකයි. Normally when it is a positive integer we do not write the plus sign at the beginning. We only write the plus negative sign. But you have to write down both signs, right? Okay, all of you. Right, there we learn about the how to enter very large numbers and small numbers. ගොඩක් පොඩි ගණන් ලොකු ගණන් enter කරන ක්‍රමය තමයි ඉතින්. Very large and very small numbers. That is simple. වේදනාවට පස්සේ දාන්න. ඉඳ තියෙන්නේ quality එක පොඩ්ඩක් ළඟ වැඩි හරි. So if you enter in scientific notation, always result is floating point. ගහන හැම එකේම result එක floating point එන්නේ. 1E2 means 100, but it is a floating point number. Okay. When you enter scientific notation or exponential notation, always the number is considered as a floating point number. Right. Now it's a time to move into exercise 6. Okay, happy body break. Gum. We will go for a short break, and after the break, we can continue because we have to learn several functions there. Break a gum. 15 minutes break, then we can go to the library functions and all. අද කොහොමත් අපිට ටිකක් කලින් ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. So we will take the break now and start by 10:15. 11:30 11:45 වගේ වෙද්දි ඉවර වෙයි. එච්චර වෙලා යන එකක් නැහැ. හරි එහෙනම් break එක අරන් එන්නකෝ. all of you. So we will start. You can try to do exercise number 6. Try exercise number 6, all of you. You have to type the command and write down the output, okay? Then it is easy to me to explain. The first command is int 6.7. ඒ වගේ කරලා බලන්නකෝ output එක ලියන් යන්න. int 6.1. Try it. Okay, we are going to learn 3 functions here: int function, float function, and the round function. During the first session, Under the turtle programming, we learn a lot of functions. Today also we learn print function. Now we have int, float, and round. Right. I'm going to explain the int function. Right. Before that, I have to tell you about this. For example, if you look at 12.56, in 12.56, we call that integer part. Integer part, short name is IP, and the fractional part we call FP. In this number, 12 is the integer part. 56 is called fractional part. When it is a floating point number, always there are two parts. When there's a floating point number, we have two types of numbers in the Python, especially not only in Python. In computer science, always we have two types of numbers, integers and floating point numbers. When it is a floating point number, there are two parts, okay? The integer part and the fractional part. Integer part and the fractional part. Fractional. Integer part and fractional part, okay? Now, what happened in the case of int function? මොකද වෙන්නේ int function එකේ හැමතිස්සෙම? Int 12.56. What happened? It will produce 12. 12 is what? 12 is the integer part of what? 12.56. Therefore, in general, we can write it like this. මෙතන අපි ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් ලියාගමු. Int x කියලා දැම්මොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? Returns the integer part of x. Okay, returns the integer part of x. එහෙනම් තමයි කියන්නේ. Integer part එක තමයි එයා return කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දෙන float එකේ integer part එක. අපි කාට හරි ගහුවම එයාත් අපිට එකක් ගහන්නේ සමහරලාට return එක දෙනවා කියලා. ඒ වගේ අපහු දෙන එකට return කියලා කියන්නේ library එකෙන්. පොතක් අපි borrow කරලා අපහු return කරන්නේ. Returns the integer part of x. Okay, when it is float function, we can generate a float. Float is used to make a float. Make a float. Float 6 means float 5 means the float function will return a float, right? Simply the int is converted into float. When it is int function, the float is converted into int. Okay, එතකොට අපි එකක් දාගමු. Returns the floating point number of x. අපි දෙන එකේ float එක තමයි එන්නේ. Round is another function. I use this function in assignment 1 also. Round in සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ වටයනවා කියලානේ. So if you want to round particular float into significant places, significant places ගානකට මොකක් හරි round, you want to round 12.34567 into 3 decimal places. Okay, දෙවෙනි එකෙන් කියන්නේ significant places ගන්න, digits ගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ දශම ස්ථාන 3කට වට යනවන්නේ. Rounded to 3 decimal places, නැත්නම් 3 significant places. Okay, round. Round. Now 12 is rounded to 3 decimal places. එහෙමත් පුළුවන්. But it will be an integer. Okay, you can put here returns. Function වලින් value එකක් return කරනවා කියලා තමයි අපි හැමතිස්සෙම කියන්නේ. Returns the rounded value of x to n in decimal කියලා දාමුකෝ. Decimal places. Okay, I want to introduce another fact here. In round function, all of you, now we have round 12.67. I'm going to round it into one place. Okay, if you want, I can round it into 0 places. 0 places. And if I want, I can just keep it without the second digit n. Okay, the round is a function with 2 arguments, right? Int and float are functions with 1 argument. Now this is a 2 argument function. Now you can see what happened. Round 12.67 into nearest integer. Okay, into nearest integer. If you did not specify n, we call that n is optional. N is optional. You can only provide x, right? You don't. N is optional, right? The default by default again. Q and by default rounded to nearest integer. Q නැති වුණාම ආසන්නනි කියලා යට තමයි වට යන්නේ. Rounded to the nearest integer. Rounded to the nearest integer. එකත් පොඩ්ඩක් දාගන්න. N is optional, by default rounded to the nearest integer. Default කියලා අහලා තියෙනවා. Default settings අපි එහෙම කියන්නේ. Okay. In computers, always there can be some unexpected situations. Look at now round. Make a put up round 2.5. What will be the value? What must be the value? In computers, always there is a small error, right? Because in computers, numbers are represented in binary. Because of binary representation, it is difficult to represent 2.5 exactly as 2.5. Actually 2.5 is represented, later we are going to learn this, a number very close to 2.5 but not 2.5. That's why when we rounded 2.5 into nearest integer, you can see it as 2 instead of 3. But when it is 3.5, you can see again 4.5, some error, right? Therefore in computers, with computers, always there can be certain unexpected situations, right? When you are learning computer science in detail, we can understand this. At the moment, we have to just neglect them. Okay, so it's time to move into the exercise number 7. බලන්න එහා පැත්තේ පිටුවේ මම ප්‍රශ්න වගේක් දාලා ඇති, ඒ ටික බලලා කරන්නකෝ. Move into exercise number 7. Move. Hmm. Did you try? In the first one, the answer should be, I will type it here, int decimal rounded. We have to round it 1 over 3, 1 over 3 to 3 decimal places. Okay. The next one, it is also rounded. Round 2 divided by 3 to 4 decimal places. Okay. මේ තුන්වෙනි එක තමයි වැරද්දන්නේ සමහරලාට කට්ටිය. It says to nearest integer. Therefore, you can't use int. But according to the given number 22 over 7, if you use to an int is still correct. But you have to use round. Round 22 over 7 to nearest integer. No, you can keep it. So if you want integer part, always you have to use the int. 131 over 34. හරි නේද? තුන්වෙනි එකට දාන්න ඕන round තමයි දාන්න ඕන. ඒකට තමයි rounding වෙන්නේ. Right. Now we have some basic idea about the three functions, right? We discussed two types of numerical data used in Python, the integers and floating point numbers, and some basic functions associated with these two data types, int function, float function, and the round function. Okay. Okay, now we are going to look at few more things. All of you, right? So stop your work and just look at the screen, all of you. I'm going to clear all. Right now, I'm going to type sine function. Look at sine 0. You can see that it's an error. It's an error. The Python cannot identify the sine function. It can understand, identify int function, int 0, int 0, int 0. Int is a function which is identified, but sine function will not work. You can do something like this. Look at import math. We are going to import mathematical functions. Look at now, if you type math dot pi, not pi, let's say sine. Actually, if you write math and put a dot, you can see a pop-up menu, and mathematical functions will be pop up. Look at now, I'm going to use sine 0. Okay, sine 0 is 0. What is sine 90? Sine 90. Actually, sine 90 means it is this how you have to obtain sine 90. In math function, there's a sine math.phi. Math.phi means the value of the mathematical constant phi to 16 nearest places. It's a phi is an irrational number. No? Its decimal representation is non-recurring and non-terminating. Okay, so clearly ඉවර කරන්න බෑනේ. So math.phi අපිට ඕන 5/2 නේ sin ගන්න ඕන math එකෙන් ගන්න phi එක. කැල් එකෙත් phi තියෙනවා ඒ වගේ තමයි. Right? Sin 5/2. Okay. Math dot cos cosine. Cos 0 is 1. Cos pi/2. Math එකේ 5/2 කියලා දාන්න. Is that 0? Is that 0? It is 6.12 into 10 to the power minus 70. Okay, computers වල මං කිව්වේ හැමතිස්සෙම error එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා. ඒකින්ද අර ළඟ උත්තරේ තමයි එන්නේ. ළඟ උත්තරයක් එන්නේ. මේක අපි if you round this value into two significant places, you can see it as 0. Okay. Here I show you how to use mathematical functions, right? So mathematical functions are not available by default. Mathematical functions are not available by default. You have to import them. Okay, you can try this, then I can explain. All of you try these commands. You have to, at the beginning, you have to type import math.sin 0, because sin function is obtained from the math. That's why. All of you have gone to library, no? So normally we don't buy all the types of books. Then if you want to refer some additional books, we can go to a library. මේ angles ඔක්කොම එන්නේ angles එක අපි radian වලින් දාන්න ඕන එකයි 90 කියලා දාලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ 90 වෙනුවට 5/2 දාන්න ඕන 60 sin මේ තියෙන්නේ sin 30 වල value එක 30 කියන්නේ 5/6 නේ sin 30 ගන්න ඕන මේ විදිහට ගන්න ඕන හරි always there is an error. You can see that sin 30 is half, no, 0.5 කියලා එන්න ඕන. ඒකට එකට කිට්ටු value එකක් තමයි එන්නේ. This is 10 to the power minus 17. 10 to the power minus 17 means it's very small number, right? 0.7, 17 zeros, then 6, no? 16 zeros, 6. Bindu I quite. All of you try these basic trigonometric functions. Even you can use tan function. Math dot tan 0. Tan 0 is 0. You can find tan 5/2. Math එකේ බලන්න tan 90 ගියත් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. tan 90ට කීයක් දෙන්නේ? Infinity means very large number, no? Infinity is the largest number, right? In Python or in computer, the largest possible number is 10 to the power 16 scale. That's why you can see largest number is in 10 to the power 16 scale. The smallest number is in 10 to the power minus 17 scale. Okay, all of you, I'm going to explain particular thing, all of you. Just stop your work and look at the screen, right? Uh, so this idea, this is what we use is called library. What we use is called math library, or it is called math module in Python. The last time we used turtle graphics, no, something like. So today we are going to use the math library, mathematical library. So here the basic idea, the term library means it's like a library. In Python, lot of functions available. In a library, lot of books available. Likewise, uh, lot of functions available, right? In the library, you can find the shelf for mathematics, physics, computer science, story. Likewise, different shelves available. So now in the library, import math means you have gone to the mathematical section of the library, math self එකට ගිහින් තියෙන. In other words, now you can access all the mathematical books. Okay, that is the idea. ඒ වගේ තව ගොඩක් ඒවා තියෙනවා, lot of modules available. Now if you use, look at import math, then you can access mathematical functions. Okay, you can access mathematical functions and mathematical constants, right? But still it will not identify sine zero. You can do something like this. Look at from math import, you can see from math import, you can put the name of the function from math import sine. Now you can type sine zero, but still error for pi, still error for cos, because we only import. There are two ways to open. You can put import math, then you have to put the name of the library math dot and the function name one by one. But if you use it like this, from math import sine, then you can freely use sine function without notifying that it is from the method. This is the normal way. You can put asterisk here. Then what happened is all the mathematical functions are loaded: sine, cos zero, tan zero, and all other values are loaded. Okay, but the thing is that if you use from math import and the star, what happens is all the mathematical functions are loaded. All the mathematical functions. It's something like you're going to borrow all the mathematical books from the library. Can you understand? If you type from math import asterisk character, that means all the mathematical functions will be loaded to the main memory, right? ගැන අපි අර ඔක්කොම පොත් ටික ගෙදර ගෙනියනවා වගේ වැඩක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ, right? then ඒක ගෙනියන්න අමාරුයිනේ, කරදරයි. Normally in a computer we have enough memory and all, therefore it is not an issue. Okay, it is not an issue, but I do not recommend to use like that. Last time we used the same thing, right? For example, turtle. We can do something like this: import turtle. You can see that forward function is not available right now. Forward 100, it's forward 100 is not available. But if you type something like this, import turtle, right? Then turtle dot forward, then the canvas will be in a different window. Different window, right? In a different window, canvas is appeared. තව එකක් ගහලා බලමු. ඒකට එහෙම යන්න පුළුවන් ඉස්සරහට left function ඒ වගේ ඒවා use කරන්න පුළුවන්. left 90, forward 100 ඒ වගේ එහෙම one by one යන්න පුළුවන්, command by command. But if you use from turtle import import all the turtle functions will be available. fd කියලා දාන්න පුළුවන් ඒකට. හරි. ඒ විදිහට ඉස්සරහට යනවා 100 100 දෙක. Did you get it? අර බලන්න ඒ විදිහටත් ඒක use කරලා බලන්න. math එක import කරලා බලන්න. Way that we import the turtle library. This is what you have to type. From math import. මේ highlight කරලා තියෙන එක දාලා බලන්න. Okay. Now you have the difference between you can have some idea of how to import library, right? A lot of functions, a lot of libraries available, lot of libraries available. For example, import random. There's a library called random. Random කියලා dot එකක් තිබ්බම ඔයාලට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. In the computer, in the ideally, this is only available in the ideally, it is not available in the Python 3. Lot of random functions available. For example, දාන්න කියලා තිබ්බ එක random int. Now this will generate a random number in between 13 and 20. Okay, it will return random number. KK වෙලාවට KK වෙන්නේ. Can see that generating numbers randomly. KK වෙලාවට KK වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Random number generation. Lot of libraries available. There's another library, famous library called time. අපි අර sleep කියන එක use කරේ. time එකේ තියෙන there's a function get time. No, time access time, I think. Time library, yes, access time. It will you can access the system time by using access time or something like that. There is a function. Okay. Likewise, a lot of libraries available. As an introduction, I have introduced the maths library here. Already we have some experience with libraries because we have used the turtle graphics. Means we use the turtle library. There's another library called CMath. CMath stands for complex math. You can deal with complex numbers when it is CMath library. CMath dot. You can see various A cos means cos inverse, right? Lot of polar form, rectangular form, likewise, lot of functions available. Later we will look at them. Anyway, now we will complete exercise number 8. Exercise number 8, all of you. In exercise number 8, I have listed a few mathematical related functions. Okay, phi for the mathematical constant phi, all of you. E for the mathematical constant e, for example, e to the powers, natural exponential. E කියලා කියන array එක නෙමෙයි, scientific එකට use කරන e නෙමෙයි, e to the powers ex. Absolute is a function, f(abs) is a function which will return the absolute value. ගන්න පුළුවන් import අපිට f(abs) කියලා තියෙනවා absolute value එක. මාපාංක පහේ මාපාංක ඍණ පහේ මාපාංකය වල. Okay, and factorial 520, yeah, factorial exponential. අර from import all කියන එක දැම්මන් පස්සේ තමයි අපිට පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ මේ විදිහට කරන්න. Exponential, this is e to the power 1. e වල value එකත් ඒකමනේ, e to the powers ගන්න පුළුවන් exponential. The log function means it will return the natural log with log of e to the power of 1. e වල log එක කීයද? e වල base e තනේ ඉන්නේ. හරි, base e වලට නෙන්නේ e පාදයට len e කියලා දාන්න natural logarithms e. If you want, you can specify base as an optional. එතකොට ඒ base එකට තමයි ඉන්නේ. Right, log 100 base 10. Square root means square root වර්ගමූලය ගන්න පුළුවන්. Cosine, sine, tan, likewise. Okay, there are a lot of functions available, other mathematical function. Can you try these four? E to the power 10, e to the power, calculate the value by using math library. Okay, first one is e to the power of 10. So assume that we have from math import all කියලා දාලා තියෙනවා කියලා හිතන්න. එතකොට ඔක්කොම ටික එනවනේ. from math import all. Okay, first one is e to the power, so we can type it like this, e to the power of 10. That's one method. Otherwise we can use exponential 10. Okay, both are correct. There can be small slightly variation of the last few digits, so exponential 10. So the second one, e to the power 5, so e to the power of 5 මෙහෙම දාන්නත් පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් exponential 5 කියලා දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. The third one is factorial, no? Factorial. Factorial 132. It's very large, huh? Very large. That means it's approximately 100 digits, 130 digits. Okay. The fourth one is a NCR calculation. දැන් NCR ඒවා මතකයිනේ. දැන් මේ තියෙන විදිහට නම් අපිට factorial එකෙන් තමයි කරන්න වෙන්නේ. Actually there's a function called combination. Combi කියලා තියෙනවා. Combinations. NCR කියන්නේ combinations නේ. Combinations. So what we have is 17 12. මේ table එකේ මම දාලා නැහැ ඒක. Permutation combinations වලට functions තියෙනවා NCR NCR වලට. Otherwise we have to use the factorial function 3 times, no? Factorial of 12 divided by factorial 17 divided by 12. මෙහෙම දාන්න වෙනවා. Factorial 17 divided by factorial 12 and factorial 12 17 minus 12 එහෙම දාන්න වෙන කියන්නේ 5. ඒ විදිහට තමයි calculate කරන්න වෙන්නේ. Why is that? Factorial. All of you look at, so factorial is long name, no? We can do something like this. From math, look at import factorial. Factorial like import as f. Now f5 means factorial. F5 means factorial 5. Factorial 5 is 120, no? तर මෙහෙම දාන්න පුළුවන්. Factorial 17 divided by factorial 17 divided by factorial 12 into factorial 5. NCR මතකනේ. combine කියලා තනි function එකකුත් තියෙනවා, combination කියලා 17 12 ඒක use කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේක use කරන්න පුළුවන් 17, 12. Is it okay? Huh? So you can enter previous commands. Okay, you have to click on the previous command. All of you. දැන් හිතන්න මේ මෙතන මෙහෙම enter කරනවා. මෙහෙම enter කරලා you have to click, you have to put the cursor on the previous command and enter. Then the previous command will be loaded. Then you can edit it and මේක මොන හරි වෙන value එකක් දාලා I enter කරන්න පුළුවන්. Then you can run. Okay. Previous commands can be loaded. If there is an error, we cannot do, right? If there is a mistake, so it will be an error. So let's say that මම හිතන දැන් මෙහෙම මම ඔයාලට මොන හරි කියනවා. මොන හරි මම ඔයාලට කියනවා. ඒතර ඔයාලට ඒක තේරුන්නේ නැහැ නැත්නම් මට වැරදුනා. So I told you something but there was a mistake with that. I cannot do it. I cannot delete that word. Hmm? I cannot delete what I have told. So I can repeat it but I cannot correct it. No, I cannot delete it. I can correct by repeating. So in the command also you are going to talk with the computer now. You are going to talk with the computer. If there's a mistake in your if there's a mistake in your command, your statement, then computer say that, oh, I didn't get it, I can't understand, right? So you can't delete what you have taught. The same thing here. If there's a mistake, you have to do it again. මං කියන එකක් වැරදුනොත් එතකොට හරි මොකක් හරි වුණත් අපි කතා කරනකොට දෙන්නේ එකේ වැරදුනොත් ආයි කියන්න වෙනවනේ හරි ගස්සලා. ඒ වගේ තමයි. Right, next, all of you, I'm going to show you how to use variables. Actually, in the previous session also we had some variable usage. Right now, look at, let's say there is a rectangle. Okay, the base of the rectangle is 12.56. Okay, the height is 17.9. 17.9. Okay, look at all of you. Screen එක පේනෝනේ rectangle එකක් තියෙන. Now I want to find the area. So 12.56 into 17.9. Okay, and follow. Let's say I have to find the perimeter. So we can use a variable b. B is 12.56. Height එකට අපි h ගමු. Height is 17.9. Okay, now I want area. Base into height. If you type bh, it's an error. It says we don't know bh. B into h, no. This area. 12.56. 19 point කියලා නම් තියෙනවා. ඔන්න අපිට ඒක ආපහු correct කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි අරගෙන 17.9 කියලා දාලා. So correct value h is changed now into 17.9, right? And base into height. If you want, you can assign a equals base into height. ඒ වගේ අපිට එහෙම වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. If you want perimeter, perimeter is 2 times base plus height. If you want to find x bar when on coordinate system let's say this is x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay, x-axis, y-axis. We want to find the x bar and let's say moment of inertia ix is 1/3 into 1/3 into base into height to the power of 3. ඒ වගේ අපිට එහෙම calculation කරන්න variables use කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, you can write all of you. ඒ වගේ example එකක් පොඩ්ඩක් try කරලා බලන්න. You can use variables with your calculation. Then easy to handle the question. වැරදුනොත් අගාල h වෙනස් කරලා ආපහු type කරලා එහෙම ගන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so you have to do the exercise 9 in similar manner. Exercise 9 එක ඔය වගේ එකක් තියෙන I section that we discussing under the properties of plane areas. So you can use suitable initial variables and you can do. So next time I think we have to discuss about variables. Yeah, next week we have to discuss variables and comments in detail. Okay, variables and comments in detail. Then we can see other things associated with variables. Try this, try this as a homework, and also you have to. There's a website called pythonanywhere.com. So you can create account in pythonanywhere.com, and uh, then you can assign your teacher. So my user account is Asankar, so you can add me as a teacher. In the quiz number 2, I have given a question to share your coding in pythonanywhere.com, so you can do it there, right? So these are the things that we have to discuss in this session. So next time we are going to look at the variables and comments. Actually, these practical sessions are not for 4-hour sessions. These sessions can be covered within 2 hours or 3 hours. And the next week onward, we are going to change the timetable now. Yeah, we have changed I have changed the Python into Thursday, right? Thursday. And Saturday, we are going to conduct the vectors. The vector session will be 4 hours, so 4.5 hours, but the Python session will not continue for 4 hours, right? Okay, we will stop here. Do you have any questions? මොනහරි ප්‍රශ්න තියද? Okay, you can leave, right? If you have any questions, you can put them into the chat.